I was standing, waiting for everyone to stop chatting so that I could begin my song. It was my best friend Tia's birthday party, and she had asked me if I would sing her favorite song for her. As everyone quietened down, I began to sing. One last time, I need to be the one who takes you home. One more time, I promise after that, I'll let you go. The whole of the room erupted into cheers and applause. I could see Tia standing in the corner mouthing thank you to me and smiling. I finished the song and was about to walk over to Tia when someone stopped me in my tracks.
Excuse me, can I give you my card? I'm a talent agent and I'd like to offer you a place in an upcoming singing competition which will be airing on TV.
But before I go on, make sure you like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you do, you could end up on TV too. I just stood there staring at the agent, like a deer caught in headlights. I didn't know what to say. It was such a shock.
I will contact you again with further details.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. I ran straight over to Tia. Oh my god, you're not going to believe what just happened.
What?
An agent just offered me a place in a singing competition, and it's going to be shown on TV.
Oh, Olivia, I'm so happy for you.
I know, I can't believe it. I'm so excited.
Mason, did you hear what Olivia just said?
What?
She has been offered a place in a singing competition.
Really? Wow, that's fantastic. So pleased for you, Olivia.
Tia's boyfriend Mason high-fived me and then went off to join his friends, leaving me with Tia. Mason is a really nice boy, Tia. I'm so happy you have someone nice.
Yes, I'm very lucky, but you're lucky too. You have an amazing voice and you're so pretty too.
Even though Tia was my friend, I knew that what she was saying was true. I had always been complimented on my voice, even when I was a little girl. My mom would often ask me to sing for her friends, or when we had family come to visit. People were always quite shocked at just how good I was. And to be honest, I was a bit of a boy magnet too. Boys were really attracted to me, not just because I was a good singer, but because I was pretty too. Even though I didn't have a boyfriend, I wasn't worried. There was plenty of time for that. I was more concerned about pursuing my singing. After my first meeting with the agent at Tia's birthday party, things began to move really quickly. The agent contacted me and sent me through the itinerary that I had to follow before the show. A week before the live show, I flew out to the location of the venue. When I landed at the airport, there was a limo waiting for me. I really felt like a celebrity when I saw my name being held up on a sign. The limo took me to the hotel where I would be staying whilst I was there and where the competition would take place. When I got to my room, I found a note waiting for me. It told me that I was to go down to the meeting room at 3 o'clock to meet with the organizers and the other contestants. As I waited for the lift to arrive, I began to hum a few notes, just to warm up my voice. I didn't realize there were 2 girls behind me who were also waiting for the lift.
I guess you're in the competition too then?
I turned around with a start. Oh, sorry, I was just warming up my voice.
Yes, it sounded as though you need to do quite a bit of warming up to sound as good as we do.
I was hurt by what they had said, but I didn't say anything. I just kept my thoughts to myself. I hope the other girls aren't as mean as those 2. The lift arrived, and we rode down to the ground floor in silence. As we entered the meeting room, we were met by a babble of chatter. I left the 2 mean girls behind me and started making my way around the room. I said hello to a few girls as I went along. Most of them were quite friendly, but a few of them just glanced at me and looked away without speaking. Wow, they're taking this thing really seriously. A man walked out onto the stage and picked up a microphone.
Can everyone please take a seat so we can begin the first round?
I watched as one by one the girls took their turn on the stage and sang their songs. Some of them were really good, but I did have a little smile to myself when I heard the songs from the 2 girls in the lift. I mean, they were okay, but definitely not great. Finally, it was my turn to go up on the stage. I picked up the microphone and waited for the song to begin. As I began to sing, the whole room went silent. Everyone stopped what they were doing and stared at me. I could see the jaws of every boy in the room dropping as they stared at me adoringly. When my song finished, all the boys in the room started clapping loudly. I couldn't help but smirk at the mean girls as I walked off the stage. The results from the first round of the competition were going to be announced the following day. After breakfast, we went back to the meeting room and waited for the names to be called out. When the announcer called out my name, my heart started beating so fast. Yes! I've made it to the next round! The next round was in front of a live audience. Once again, I had all the boys eating out of my hand. This time, the audience was asked to vote for the person they wanted to put through to the finals. Because the audience was made up of a lot of males, it wasn't a surprise that I made it to the finals. I really was a boy magnet. Even the other boys that were taking part in the competition were in awe of me. One by one, they all tried their luck in asking me to go on a date with them, but I wasn't having any of it. They were way too superficial for me, so I turned each one of them down. Eventually, the day of the competition finals came. The show was being aired live on TV, so the competition didn't begin until 7 p.m. I spent the whole day rehearsing my song. I knew it was perfect, but I still wanted to practice as much as possible. My parents were driving down with Tia and Mason so that they could all watch me perform. I hadn't seen them as I had been busy all day, but I knew they would be somewhere in the audience. One by one, each contestant took to the stage. Some of them were honestly fantastic singers. The competition level was really high. I was the last singer to perform. As I walked out onto the stage, the glare from the lights shone into my eyes. I tried to search through the faces in the audience to find my parents, Tia, and Mason, but it was difficult to make out one person from another. As I began to sing, all the boys started drooling over me. People began screaming and whistling, but out of all the screams, I recognized 4 voices that were screaming the loudest. I looked down to the front row, and sure enough, there were my parents, Tia, and Mason. When my performance was finished, I looked down to where they were sitting. My parents had huge beams on their faces, and Tia and Mason smiled at me too. But when I saw Mason smile, I hesitated for a second. Was that a strange look Mason gave me? But I brushed off my thoughts and went to take my place next to the other contestants. The announcer was coming back onto the stage.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the votes are all in, and we have a winner.
We all waited with bated breath.
Can I have a drum roll, please?
When the drum roll ended, the announcer lifted his microphone and began to speak.
And the winner is... Olivia!
I couldn't believe it. I had won. As I stood up and walked over to take my trophy, hundreds of golden paper stars dropped from the ceiling onto my head. I had never felt happier in my life. Everyone was patting me on the back, shaking my hand, and congratulating me. I felt on such a high. It was the best feeling in the world. When I got backstage, Tia and Mason were waiting there for me.
Oh, Olivia, well done. I knew you would win. You were amazing out there.
I smiled at Tia. Thank you. Where are my parents?
They were coming with us, but they must have got lost somewhere. I'll go to find them. Mason, stay here with Olivia.
I watched as Tia rushed off to find my mom and dad.
Olivia, you look like a star out on stage. You're so pretty.
It felt a bit weird hearing my best friend's boyfriend say such nice things about me, but I just smiled and said, "Thank you."
No, I'm serious. I don't think I ever realized just how beautiful you are.
I was really shocked when he said that, and I was about to tell him that I didn't think he should be saying things like that when he suddenly leaned in and kissed me. I immediately pushed him away from me, but it was too late. I could see Tia standing at the doorway with my parents. She had seen everything. My parents' faces were in shock, and I could see they were disappointed in what they had witnessed. The next thing, Tia burst into tears and ran off. I ran after her, without even stopping to explain anything to my parents. Tia, wait! It's not what you think!
Oh, don't try to deny it. It's exactly what I think. I saw you kissing my boyfriend.
I didn't! He kissed me, and I pushed him off me straight away!
How could you do that to me? You were supposed to be my best friend. I can never forgive you for this.
Tia stormed off.
I never want to see you again. Don't try to contact me, because I won't answer your calls.
I was so angry with Mason. It was his stupid fault that this had all happened. When I got back to my parents, Mason was nowhere to be seen. Honestly, it wasn't me. I would never do that to Tia. She's my best friend. I told my parents the whole story, and thankfully, they believed me.
We know you'd never do something like that to your best friend. Maybe once Tia has had some time to think about it, she'll realize that too.
But unfortunately, Tia didn't realize it. I tried to call her and sent her hundreds of texts, but she never answered. Eventually, I gave up any hope of getting our friendship back on track. Plus, I began to find myself really busy with my singing. After the competition had aired, the offers began flooding in. TV shows wanted me to appear on them, and record companies started offering me contracts. I signed a record deal and began writing my own songs. After my first hit album, I began touring the country. Every week I was traveling from one town to another, performing to packed audiences everywhere. But even with my newfound fame and popularity, something was missing. Without Tia in my life, I felt lost. We always told each other everything. I missed having her to confide in. So that's when I came up with my plan. If she wasn't going to listen to what I wanted to say to her in a phone call, then I would find another way to get my message across. I decided that I would write a song and dedicate it to Tia. Oh, Tia, you were my best friend. I would never hurt you. I will love you to the end. When my record company released my song, it went straight to #1. It was played on every radio station in every town and city. I really hoped that Tia would hear it and listen to the lyrics. The last concert on my tour was being held in my hometown. I was excited to sing there, back where it had all begun. At the end of the show, as I walked back on stage, the crowd shouting and calling for one more song, I picked up the microphone and spoke into it. I've saved the best song for last. This song is dedicated to my best friend Tia. Even though we aren't close anymore, she still means the world to me. As I began to sing the lyrics, the audience began shouting and cheering. I didn't notice that someone had walked out to join me on the stage. I only realized when I felt a tap on my shoulder. I turned around and dropped the microphone in shock. Tia! Tia just started smiling at me and then put her arms around me and hugged me tightly.
I've missed you, Olivia. Let's never fall out over a boy again.
That's fine by me.